Hey, and welcome everybody to the glorious episode of the Put On Waivers podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas, and I'm podcasting this bright early morning on the beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean. Beautiful morning out here, just dark as hell. But you gotta do what we gotta do to get this show done. We gotta do what we gotta do. RTPOW podcast is my Twitter handle, and James Amato is JR_Amato 824. Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. Make sure you catch us there. 858-299-5592 is the Twitter handle. Many some of those questions are where you guys been. Hey, sometimes it just happens. We're here now, so enjoy us. Los Angeles, California. Thanks for listening. Albuquerque, New Mexico, North Las Vegas, Nevada, Meriden, not Connecticut, Meriden, Ohio, Meriden, Idaho, and Murfreesboro, Tennessee, or listen to the Put On Waivers podcast, MLB show. James, listen, the hat game is serious again. I see you rocking the Maple Leafs out here, and that's a nice hat right there, isn't it?
Yes, throwback Maple Leafs hat. They're probably, outside of my love for the Rangers, and we lost a beloved Ranger this past week. The Maple Leafs are just a team I tend to root for when I'm not watching the Rangers. So, and I got a really good deal on this hat on 47 brand. So it's one of my favorite style hats to wear. So yes, I'm rocking it. We've been absent the last few weeks. I got a bad summer cold. I couldn't talk for a few days. Definitely wasn't COVID. I took all the tests. And like any true New Englander, in the morning I got my donkey going. So we are we're good to roll.
I have a friend named Sonny who is from New York, and he had Dunkin' Donuts, and he was like, I was like, where'd you get that from? And he's like, oh, it was hard to find. It's hard to find. It's hard to find. Like California is not, Dunkin' Donuts is not a coffee brand out here.
I spent those 6 weeks in Miami for work that time, and it took me 2 weeks to find a Dunkin' in Miami. And when I found it,
really,
I went there. Yes,
with all the New Yorkers.
All the New Yorkers, it took me 2 weeks to find a Dunkin'. And it was like around the block from where I was working. Someone finally said, "Oh yeah, it's right around the block, 2 blocks over."
Of course. So let's just start with the baseball stuff here. And did you get a chance to listen to the Albert Bell interview?
Yeah, great interview.
Really good.
If it's still available, link it. I mean, this guy, he needs to be on a Major League Baseball pregame show, or
no. Well, we know why he won't be. He won't be.
Or at least have his own Sirius XM show or something. He's just a fantastic interview. Doesn't hold back. Doesn't insult anyone. Just spoke the truth about a lot of things, and it was a really solid interview. I know it was great that it was Joe Beningo and Evan who did it. I know you're not a Carton fan, but it was a really solid, fun interview. And again, he didn't hold back, but he didn't really insult anybody. He just asked really good questions.
Yeah, and I think the thing about it too is the pitching part of it. I didn't know. I mean, I know he grew up in Louisiana. I knew that he obviously played baseball there, and he played football also as well. But when his father, and it just shows you how influential dads are in the sport of baseball, in sports in general. Shout out to the moms who are doing the same thing with this next generation of players. But I talked about pitching, and he used to just throw. And that was, he said, never had arm trouble, never had show. Now everybody's different. I get it. Like, he kind of went in on DeGrom a little bit and stuff like that, went on Trout a little bit as well. But
which you could apply to any sports nowadays when you think about when someone goes on the injured list.
Yes, exactly. And then he talked about how it was in Louisiana in the summertime. You can imagine how sticky and hot that humidity was, and he used to wear like that, that long sleeve on his right arm to pitch, and his father just was able to, I don't know. The thing that is interesting to me and I hear John Smoltz talk about it a lot, and I love John Smoltz, by the way, especially on broadcast, how they'll take information, these analytic people, but they won't take information of the past from guys who have pitched for inning after inning after inning, never had arm trouble, and we're able to go for long periods of time instead of going for these short periods. It's almost like if they take that information, then it takes away from their job, James.
Yeah, it does feel that way with all the analytics and how we're kind of pushing the baseball lifers out of baseball to get these technicians. So if you want to call them that, into the game. And yeah, it's just crazy. I forget which pitcher said it. And I heard Boomer Esiason talking about, I guess it's an interview he did, where the pitcher said, when it comes to analytics, the pitchers will always have the advantage because you can't analyze where my next pitch is going to go. which makes sense when you think about it.
I like that one. That's a good line. That's like a sports comedian right there. That's a good one. I think the one thing that it's hard to talk about injury, but all I hear, the Colin Cowherds, everybody else says bigger, stronger, faster, right? Oh, bigger, stronger, faster. And when he went on about Trout in the interview, it was interesting because I never thought about it too. It's just like, I mean, when is this guy gonna that injury? When he did his research, he was like, how could this injury be something that is out for the year?
Yeah, I mean, when you think about how Bell's career ended, that hip injury must have been something for him to not play.
Yeah,
because he talks about going out there every day, so he must have been in a lot of pain for him to step away from the game.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, he loved the game. Would have been, he's a very interesting person to talk to, and I really feel like that was something that really, baseball's missing out. I think everybody. I think the thing that really kind of caught my eye was when they talked about how, hey, the reason why the whole distrust for the media came from a guy, I think it was a guy who did a story on him, and then he basically said Albert Bell kind of got Albert Bell to trust him, and then when the article came out, it was a total hatchet job on Albert Bell, and after that he was like, well, I'm not going to talk to you if you're going to write whatever the hell you want to write anyway. What's the point? So I don't blame him for that. And I think that was kind of a thing where, he wasn't going to trust another reporter to kind of tell his story.
No, exactly. And then it's, and it's obviously it's hurt him in his pro career and his post career, because, he should be a Hall of Famer. Joe stressed it enough during that interview. He's the 95 MVP. No questions asked.
God, that year. I mean, I gotta before we go into current baseball, I gotta let the fans know about my Lord.
His 95 season is like 95. Career stats for some players. What do you think about season.
It? 95. I got a baseball reference real quick. I mean, 95 Albert Bell is just the epitome of what great baseball is. It is unbelievable. His season. I mean, his season was ridiculous as far as that goes. I'll find it in a second here. Anything else on the Bell interview before we go to the Yankees?
No, I mean, the one thing that he said that really hit home with me was he was talking about how his dad would come home from work and he never realized how tired his dad was after work, and they would play catch for hours. And that was the same thing with me when I was young. My dad would come home and he would just either pitch to me for 2 hours after work or have a catch with me for 2 hours, whether it was, baseball or throwing a football to each other. And you just don't realize, especially how hard people worked back then. Not saying people don't work as hard today in those similar jobs, but that was the
Or,
part of the interview that just really hit home with me.
yeah, I think jobs now are really, they're more mentally taxing than they are physically
And
taxing.
physically,
Yeah,
yes.
physically taxing. Because like I know for me, I mean for me when I get home, I just want to just as far as like mentally, it just kind of wears on you a little bit. Let's go to so Albert Bell in 143 games, he only had 52 doubles because that's easy to do. 52 doubles, 50 home runs, 126 RBIs. He slugged 690 and had 377 total bases. But the following year,
And only 143 games because it was a strike shortened season.
yes,
That's all they played that year.
yes, and talk about a gamer. That kid did not miss games, dude. I mean, he really did not miss games. He wasn't on the Kawhi Leonard, if you will. 29 in 96. How about 48? 48 was his favorite number because he had 48 home runs and 148 RBIs. He had 148 RBIs. Let me repeat that for people. Albert Bell had 448 RBIs. Oh my God. Did you imagine somebody now having 448? They're trying to make Otani an all-time great right now off of this season. Like, can you imagine if a player had 148 RBIs in in a season this year? I mean, come on, that's crazy.
Oh,
That's crazy.
that would be crazy.
That's crazy. That's crazy. They wouldn't know what to do. They wouldn't know what to do. Speaking of not knowing what to do, people are not knowing how to get our guy Giancarlo Stanton out. I've said this. We've said this on this program for forever. Giancarlo Stanton is a dynamic player, and Yankee fans who, you know,
I'm sorry. We just have to go back 1 second because
yeah,
you talk about the 1996 season.
yeah,
He finished third in MVP voting behind Juan Gonzalez and Alex Rodriguez with those stats. Crazy.
Dude, I can't, like, 52 doubles. And then he's, I mean, that's a lot. How many hits did he have? 81, 180. I mean, that's, dude. Whew, man, like his last couple of years in Baltimore, obviously, the hip,
Those the injuries. Yeah.
But even in those injuries, oh, you wouldn't take somebody who had 37 home runs and 117 RBIs his last year with the Orioles, 23 home runs and 103 RBIs. You wouldn't take that right now. That guy wouldn't be a Scott Boras, darling.
Oh, that's a $300 million contract.
Exactly. I mean, geez Louise. My goodness. Yeah, thank you for going back to that. That's crazy. The Yankees are playing good baseball. Obviously, they won a bunch of games in a row. They're playing, they're kind of, it's interesting because like they are almost, the Dodgers and the Yankees are kind of doing the same kind of thing here, where they made those trades and now they're on fire. Was it 12 games in a row? It's good for the Giants and the Rays, who are just still in first place and head of those teams. Exactly. How do you because it just shows you how good those teams are, even though Christopher Russo trying to diss my Giants, which is hilarious to me.
Most amazing stat out of this win streak is that the 11-game win streak was their first 11-game win streak since 1985. And when you think of that 1998 Juggernaut team to not have a 10-game winning streak, it's crazy.
I think it shows to me like how difficult it really is, James, to win a bunch of baseball games in a row, because like you're gonna have to win at least 4 or 5, 2-1, 3-2 games, and those games are bullpen games. They can switch at any moment.
Well, so especially nowadays.
Yeah, I still think though, as much, and I don't know, I'm gonna sound like a poo-pooer of the Yankees here. Last night kind of showed to me like, hey, like listen, they're playing a good team in Oakland. They went up 6-0, and it's not like, as a Giant fan, if we're up 6-0, I kind of feel like I can turn off the game and go to bed. With the way they pitch, with the way Kapler kind of controls the game, I have no issues with the game. I think they're going to win the game and going away. For some reason, I stayed with the Yankees A's game because I was like, the Yankees don't really have that pitching to kind of shut people down. So I watched the A's come back, and I knew, and the next thing you know, Josh Harrison hits a home run, and it's 6-6.
The final 3 innings for Yankee games it's just so up in the air right now with their bullpen. And again, Chapman has not been the same since he had that mystery illness.
No, he has not. He has not. And I just don't even. He's had some moments here that look like the old Chapman, but he's been up and down as far as that goes.
I think he's been more down than up this year.
Yeah, no, I mean, and Chad Green is not, and you really trust him against some of these big time teams. Listen, they have had during this streak, they've had, I think the last game they lost was that the Field of Dreams game. That was the last game they lost, right? That had to be the last game they lost.
Was it the last game they lost?
Was it the last game they lost in this streak? I don't remember. It could have been.
Did they win the next 2 against the White Sox? Or I thought
yes, they won. They won that series. They did win that series.
Yeah.
They did win the White Sox.
So that's probably the last game they lost.
Yeah. So listen, they're playing good baseball. I think Gallo fits. I also thought I thought Gallo fit this team to a T. They finally realized they have left-handed power. Rizzo is very I didn't realize how much of a little bit of an unorthodox hitter he is, but he definitely is an on-base machine. They had him lead off a couple of games because of that ability. So I give him a lot of credit for that. And then listen, they have that thing where, if you were filming the team come off the bus, they almost look like a football team. I mean, even DJ LeMahieu is not it's not your normal size second baseman or infielder. Like DJ LeMahieu is huge. So they do have that going in their favor. But I do think right now, I mean, Stanton's in a groove. Gallo can do things, and they have a really versatile, powerful lineup. Especially, I mean, and it kind of takes the shadow off of and the pressure off of Sanchez, because Sanchez is Sanchez.
Oh, you haven't heard his name mentioned.
Who's
really
that?
In the second half of the season? Because he's their light hitting shortstop who can't field.
Yes, exactly. So, they're doing a good job. I think. I mean, they're hitting bombs, but like I said,
I don't think Rizzo's back next year. I think the Yankees are going to walk away from Rizzo.
Rizzo's not coming back.
No, I think they'd rather invest in Voit. Voigt's a much cheaper option for them. And Voigt's, he walked the walk and talked the talk, or however the saying goes. But
well, yeah. But if you're gonna do, I give him a lot of credit. I mean, if you're gonna do what if you're gonna say that, like he wants to. I mean, he obviously wanted to play. Getting Rizzo kind of lit a fire for him, and he said, "Hey, because he wants to get in there." Good for him. I mean, good for him. Good for. I have no issues with that part of it. Like because he did a good job of hitting and playing while while Rizzo was on COVID, the COVID list. So as far as that goes, so listen, the Yankees are pounding the baseball right now, playing strong baseball. I don't know if they catch the Rays. I think the Rays are still the Rays are going to hold that 4-game lead. I think they just kind of put some distance between themselves and the Red Sox here. And the Red Sox are not the Red Sox are just, I'm not sure what Boston right now is ahead. Boston right now could, with a little bit of a streak here, they're only 5-5 in the last 10 games. Maybe kind of bury the A's and kind of make it a Red Sox. Another Red Sox Yankees playoff. I'm not really excited about. But we'll see what happens as far as that goes. Out here in San Diego, the Padres have really fallen apart. I mean, they have really. I know that they are trying to MLB was trying to really amp up this. I saw stories about, the Padres and Dodgers being the next rivalry, and kind of not even covering the Giants Dodgers, like as if that's not a rivalry. I would say they're heavy on analytics. They are doing all these different things. I mean, they spent money, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens this offseason with this team. They tried to get rid of Hosmer's contract. They can't get rid of it. But I would say the one thing that would save the San Diego Padres, and this is a Giant fan, so hear me out. It's not going to happen, but I would call number 15. I would call Bruce Bochy, bring back the prodigal son, and say, is your health good enough to give us 4 years? 4 year contract. We'll make you the highest paid manager in baseball. You took us to the World Series. You know how to manage. He has a great, he speaks fluent Spanish. He knows how to connect with Spanish players. So Machado and Tatis, boom, can speak to him in native tongue. I don't know what's going on in San Diego, but I know that they just fired their pitching coach. The bringing back Bruce Bochy, I think, would be the move that I would do, James.
Yeah, it's interesting what's going on there. I mean, the team really hasn't been the same since the trade deadline. So you have to wonder, did the Hosmer rumblings have anything to do with it? Did that drive any kind of wedge in the team? I mean, he's your most seasoned playoff player on that team when you think about it. That's the kind of veteran you want to have around these younger players. Machado only had the one playoffs with the Dodgers. So he's not there, but yeah, it's just, they just took a big fall. And I mean, they were the team to start the season. And again, is this that jump start season? Is the season to get them to the next level? And then do you make that managerial move and bring in a veteran manager?
Because because it hasn't worked in Philadelphia.
It hasn't. And again, but Philadelphia isn't as analytic driven as the Padres are. So, and it I think we both agreed that it was kind of what Bochy wanted to get away from in San Francisco. But if you're going to take him in and let him manage old school and see what happens. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense. You'd like to see it happen. We still feel Bochy was forced out of the game by the Giants. So is this just the type of organization he wants to come back to? But yeah, the Phillies one is because the Phillies, felt they were getting too over analytical when they made the move to Girardi. And, is that just falling on the general manager in Philadelphia for not putting the right players on the field?
And it doesn't help. It doesn't help that the guy he fired in Philadelphia is
has the best record in baseball.
Is 83-44. The Giants are almost 40 games over 500, which is next level good. I mean, that is like 40 games over 500. I mean, they're going to be at some point they're going to be 40 games over 500. I mean, they got a good series coming up against the Braves.
How many games did they win last year? And I don't want to count last year because last year's just that fluke season.
Well, last year, the thing about it is last year is that the reason why the thing about people who like poo-poo what the Giants were doing last year was like, I mean, or this year kind of surprised me because the Giants, even in the strike shortened season, they just missed the playoffs by just like one stretch of. They were a couple of games behind the Cardinals made the wild card was different last year because you had a bunch of teams make it. But
the year before that, they weren't this good the year before that.
No, but last year, but last year, like if that was a full season, I mean, because like right now they played 60 games, right? So they were what 2 games out of they were.
All right, so that it's. There were 2 games. Is like it's a significant jump. I thought they were like a 70-win team 2 years ago.
Yeah, they were,
and now they're going to win 100. They should win 100.
They don't. They'd be upset. They don't win 100 now. To be honest, I mean, yeah, they get to this point. They were first. They were first. I think they were. I think they were the first team to win 60. First team to win 70. First team to win 80. So I mean, they're playing. I mean, and then every time they play, they play one of these series where this is the series that they're going to get swept. They take 2 out of 3 from Milwaukee. They're playing the Dodgers. Here it comes, and they beat the Dodgers. They're playing the Padres. Watch out. They beat the Padres. So at some point, you might just have to say that they're a really good team. I just want to. I mean, as a Giant fan, they're 3 games up in the loss column over the Dodgers. You just want to force the Dodgers into the wild card game. Just win the division, end their streak of winning the division for 85 million years in a row, and force them into the wild card game, because that's huge. I mean, you got to be able to force them into the wild card game. Because
the wild card game destroys your pitching rotation.
Yeah, I mean, and then hopefully, I mean, the problem is,
and it can also destroy your bullpen.
yeah, it can. And the problem with that is, I think they're going to be facing. It's probably going to be the Reds. I mean, even though, I mean, I'm not going to totally count the Padres, but I mean, it's just like it's getting bad. It's getting really bad. I mean, it's bad. I thought the 16. How do you? I mean, and they designed these extra inning games in the regular season to never have to play 16 innings.
I know.
That was the design. So how in God's name does this thing get to 16? And you have all the opportunities to not beat the Dodgers, and you're at home with a runner at second base, with nobody out, and you just cannot. I mean, your pitching staff actually did a good job, because to hold the Dodgers from not scoring, for all those innings, oh my God, but it's crazy. It's crazy. It's nuts. It's nuts as far as that goes. I can't even be bothered with that. That was just that's not good baseball as far as that goes. I just needed them to win one game. I mean, we took care of the Mets, the Giants. We took care of the Mets, who are, when I say, I don't know if you've seen any of the Mets.
Yeah, I just so disappointed in that team. I mean, they
oh my God,
they've fallen by injuries, and you guys made the trade they should have made. It should have been Chris Bryant all along in New York.
I mean, the thing about it too is, they did. I like Baez a lot.
I like Baez a lot, but now he's pushing Lindor over a position.
Well, he's playing second right now.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things where you see what's going on, but Bryant was the perfect fit for the Mets for what they needed.
Yeah, and I hope he's the perfect fit. I mean, it sounds like this is the perfect storm. I mean, usually when the team trades for a player like this, I mean, like Rizzo's not going to be back with the Yankees. We know that. I don't think Baez is going to be back with the Mets. But if the Giants make a run, he seems very comfortable. He likes it out there. He's always talked about how much he's liked it out there. He's from California himself, Chris Bryant. The Giants did a good job of making their first impression with him, and I think this is a team that he could. I mean, they have a young manager, a young GM. They could sign. They could be, and he wants to talk about how a big thing for Brian is he's in control of his own destiny. He said, yes, Scott Boras is my agent, but he was scorned by the Cubs doing that to him earlier in his career. He wants to be in full control. I know there'll be other suitors, but the Giants should be. I mean, the Giants are going to be in it, and then they could definitely sign him, no question about it.
I mean, this is a player the Angels should go after, especially if he wants to play in California, but they seem to mess these things up. They don't like making the playoffs in Anaheim.
I mean, if the Giants make it to the World Series or the ALCS, I mean, you can get paid and be on a good team. I mean, that's
Well, no, exactly.
And this
probably
is
what he wants.
And you're gonna see the Giants. I mean, they did sign Crawford to a 3-year. I think 3 more years of Brandon Crawford. But the Crawford, Belt, Posey, group is on its way out. It's on its way out. So now you're looking at the Lamont Wade Jr., the Mike Yastrzemski, Yaz's grandkid. Those guys with Bryant would be. I mean, that's where the Giants are headed as far as that goes. And I just think that I think they're also going to be in line for a frontline pitcher in this offseason as well. As far as kind of solidifying that team, but they've been masterful in that bullpen. Did a great job this year. Some of the fans want to know what I thought about Christopher Mad Dog Russo not putting the Giants in the top 5 or teams that go to World Series. I think he put the Dodgers. What else he put? He put the Dodgers. He put like all these other teams in there. Listen, at the end of the day, I don't care how much these teams flex in the regular season. The Giants have been just as good as anybody. This is not like football where you can have like maybe a soft schedule. You play everybody, and every time they played a good team, there's no stat that tells me that they're not a legitimate World Series team. I mean, they're 152 games. I'm sorry, 452 over run differential. They're 42-19 at home. They're 41-25 on the road against 500 teams. They're 30-23. I mean, the Dodgers are 26-27. I mean, even in this streak, it shows you that even in this streak, the Dodgers are doing it against some lesser teams. So as they are streaking, as far as
I mean, the only oddity in the Major League Baseball schedule, otherwise it's fair and balanced across the board, is the interleague games. Mm-hmm. when they switch up the game.
Yeah.
When they switch up the teams.
Yeah.
Because we've had years where the Yankees were playing the Nationals when they were bad, and the Red Sox had to play the Braves. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of complaints about that, which it makes sense when you think about it. And baseball has done a better job of kind of balancing out even that, like, so that you're playing kind of the same division each year, and nothing crazy is going on with the interleague games. But yeah, I mean, if you aside from a better union, like, one thing you do have to give Major League Baseball over the NFL is the balance of their schedule. They don't make it, you don't get a weaker schedule the following year because of where you finish in your division.
No, you don't at all. We didn't get a chance to talk about the Field of Dreams game. What were your thoughts about it? I did, listen, I've always
loved the fact that it wasn't on Fox or wasn't on ESPN. Yeah, it was a great game. I mean, it was an exciting game, so I mean that added a lot to it.
Yeah.
I like the fact that there wasn't a lot of fans at the game. COVID or not COVID, it was just the way that the stadium's designed. They have to keep this to one game only. They can't make a series out of it. It kind of has to be like the NHL having the outdoor game on New Year's Day. It has to be along the lines of that. It has to be like a special event. I get the reason why they have it on Thursday, with Friday being the off day. That gives you the rain day. But yeah, I would also like to, keep traditional teams in it. I think I don't want to see the Rays play the Marlins. Although that game will probably outdraw a Rays home game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved everything about it. The Kevin Costner walking out was great. The fans were into it. The players were into it. They did an excellent job with the uniforms.
Yes, they did,
for both teams. I think they picked the right throwbacks for both teams, how they did it.
The Yankees numbers, the Yankees should do that again. Those numbers look sweet.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, it's basically been the same road uniform for 100 or so years, but they kind of combined all their old road uniforms, like between the numbers and the hat, the interlocking NY on the hat, and how New York was spelled across the front. And the White Sox had no choice but to wear, if they weren't going to wear the Field of Dream uniforms from the movie, then my choice would have been the 77 uniforms with the collars.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, the collar. Those are sweet.
I love that uniform. I'm sorry. People hate that. I love that uniform. I'm going to
Me
wear
too.
that jersey next week on our next podcast.
I love that one. I love that one. That's cool. I like that one a lot. Yeah. So, a great thing. I mean, I think that I do. I'm not happy at all with the fact that it's Cubs Reds next year. I think that was. I mean, maybe they feel like they have to because of the egress, whatever situation to get in and out of that place. I heard it's very difficult to get in and out of that place. So they probably didn't want to have. I don't know how you don't have Dodgers Giants. I don't know how you don't have.
Well, I mean,
um,
you're going with the two oldest franchises in baseball
Reds
next
and
year, the Reds and the
Cubs.
Cubs. What do you think about it?
Mm,
And Dodgers Giants would be the next logical choice. But yeah, I think it's a good pick. And hopefully the Reds wear their big red machine throwbacks.
yeah, I mean, it should be. And listen, you think? I mean, they're going to be the Reds are a dynamic offensive team. So if they keep that team together, you're going to see a lot of balls going into that cornfield. No question about it.
And don't forget, last year it was supposed to be the Yankees and the Cardinals in that game.
Oh, because they didn't do it because the Yankees Cards is two historic franchises, so I couldn't argue with that point of it. I think they do have to make it, not make it, Yankees all the time, but
they don't. But I'm just saying, that was the original game. But when you think about the Reds, historically for the longest time, the Reds played the first baseball game of the year every single year until ESPN got involved.
Yeah.
They would play a 12 o'clock opening day game, and they would traditionally be the first because they are the oldest franchise in baseball.
Yeah.
They would play a 12 o'clock game on opening day, and all the other games would start at 1 o'clock. And baseball season started in Cincinnati for the longest time, again, until ESPN got involved with that Sunday night game in March. God. And if you saw the Little League game on Sunday night, what ESPN did with that production and just how annoying the announcers are. Thank God it was on Fox, and keep the rights with Fox, Major League Baseball.
I don't. I mean, the announcers don't really do. I mean, like I do. I think Fox does do. They do a good job of the big event. They just do. I mean, I'm not gonna front. I think ESPN tries to be too. They just worry about being so hip and being, hitting that young crowd and stuff like that. It's just here's how you getting the young crowd involved is really simple. Make it a great event. Like if you just make it a great event, if you just make it a great event, then you don't have to worry about like everything else what that goes along with it. Just make it a great event and you'll be fine. I mean, that's all they want to see is a great event. So as far as that goes, anything else around Major League Baseball? Do you want to see it continue? Do you want to see it go to like a Sandlot game? Do you want to see other movies? Do you want to? I mean, like
no, just keep this one game special. Yeah. And I get all the nostalgia that came up. I mean, the only other movie that I would like to see, and the stadium doesn't exist anymore, would be the Buffalo Stadium where they filmed The Natural. And that War Memorial Stadium is gone. So, that would be the only other baseball movie I would choose to do it. But yeah, other than that, just keep it as the Field of Dreams game. One game only. Don't make a series out of it. And just keep it a special event, And what I would also do, the other thing I would do, since it's a Thursday night game, it's the only game that day.
I like that idea.
So there's nothing else going, and that's what they do in the NHL with the January 1st game. And again, because you're up against college football, but it's the only NHL game that day is the outdoor stadium series game. So, or the NHL Classic, Winter Classic. So yeah, so just make that, because the next day there's like 6 other games that night. So you got a bunch of baseball highlights. And if you just make it the only game of the day, then you're all over every sports highlight the next day. So
I do want to see after a couple of years to change it up to other films. I mean, I know I'll differ a little bit on that one with you. I don't know how you recreate Sandlot. I don't know how you recreate some of the other baseball story. I mean, The Natural was still still my favorite baseball movie. I still get chills even thinking about that ball hitting the lights. Him, Robert Redford, maybe getting him involved for a little just a before it's before he's gone. You never know when that could happen. So I still want to see.
If they could recreate the arena in Pittsburgh that the Pittsburgh Pythons flew in on a balloon for the fish that say Pittsburgh.
That's where you go.
Or the Pittsburgh Pisces at that point. That would be a throwback, movie basketball event I'd like to see.
Yeah, and it's funny. I mean, I think other sports are going to try to bite this too. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, I honestly think the NBA should do a Rucker Park game.
I've said that forever. I am not. I've always said, like, if you could. When is the All-Star game is typically in wintertime, right? The All-Star game.
Well, that's the only thing. So it would have to be like it would have to be like an October game.
I just for a community, Rucker Park would be amazing for that community. The amount of money that would come into that community for that weekend would be incredible.
Yeah, or even the park in the opening of White Men Can't Jump, the famous beach.
Oh, the Venice Beach.
Venice.
Yeah, I am still to this day surprised that they have not done an out. Have they ever done an outdoor NBA?
They've done those special games
on the boat, right?
On the carriers,
yeah,
for the military, but and those are usually like a preseason game. But yeah, I would love to see an outdoor NBA game, and
yeah,
I think so either Venice Beach, because you could do that year round.
Yeah.
Or Rucker Park.
Rucker Park. I mean, it's
amazing.
It's so historical. So it's so cool. I mean, it would be because, like, they just did a huge.
You could raffle off tickets to go to people from New York, from that area, and and have the NBA invest in the community and everything. I think it's a huge marketing opportunity.
So many great NBA players played in there. Like, played there. It would be kind of. I'm surprised. I am. That's all the leagues that kind of get it right. The NBA usually gets it right. When it comes to doing stuff like that, it would be cool to see if they actually could get that going. That'd be kind of cool to see if they could actually do it.
Yeah,
that'd be because
I would definitely be into that.
Yeah, because just now they just had a before we go into the miscellaneous real quick, they just had a game. It was like this. It was like Trae Young and Carmelo Anthony, Bradley Beal. It was like a pickup game, and they're all playing. They show the videos of it, and it's just like pretty crazy. That much NBA talent on the court playing each other. It'd be cool to see that.
Going back to the Bulls documentary, when they built the court for Jordan while he was filming the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first sense the players got that he was coming back, because they're like, he wasn't taking it easy. Not that they ever thought he would, but they're like, you could sense that he was sizing everyone up and seeing
where he stood, right?
Where he stood, yeah.
Yeah, that's Jordan.
Yeah, I think the NBA has a great opportunity to do an outdoor special event game like that.
Yeah, no question about it. They're built for it. They're built for it, and their fans would go jump all over it.
And I wouldn't do a Hoosiers theme, and I would just step away from that. Maybe that's something college basketball could do. I think the NBA needs to focus on where their hardcore fans are from, and that's either Venice Beach or Rucker Park.
In New York and LA. I mean, New York and LA. I mean, any of those parts. I think a Hoosiers game would be. I mean, how does Indiana not? How did the Hoosiers not ever do a game like that? That's kind of crazy to me. They got to do something out there to get people excited about Indiana. It's been a long time since Isaiah Thomas. As far as that goes.
Yeah.
Go miscellaneous now real quick. What was I going to talk about? Oh, did you see now I'm a little bit invested into the Eternals, because I saw the second trailer. The second trailer is
Yeah, I'm more
gives you much
excited for
more.
I'm more excited for the Eternals than I am for the Ten Rings. I'll go see the Ten Rings, but the Eternals movie definitely has me a lot more excited to see. And I guess depending how Ten Rings does, the box office is going to determine whether they either push that movie back or release it at the same time on Disney Plus. Stream it at the same time as it's in the movies. I don't think at this point Marvel can really afford to throw their schedule off anymore. So
Yeah.
that's the
What
decision to
was
come down
the
to.
what was the black? I'm looking at the Black Widow. The Black Widow box office numbers were. Let's see here. That's why we can still go as it goes. That's why I just want to see what the box office was for Black Widow because that's the only thing that.
Well, I mean, they released the same day, and you had to pay for it. So the thing was, Disney released that 20 million people paid to see the movie on Disney Plus.
Okay.
So they made $600 million on Disney Plus, but and her contract was based on box office, not on the streaming.
So that's the beef she's had with him.
That's the beef she's having.
Oh, okay.
And someone was going to do it at some point because of the a lot of these people and actors signed these contracts before COVID.
Yeah.
So that's the thing right there. I mean, I'm sure she still got a pretty payday from it, but you need to hold someone accountable for their contract.
I do think that too. Like, I mean, one thing about actors too, is I would say this is like, when they get their money regardless, and like they've made some movies that I'm sure she's made some movies that have absolutely flopped too as well on the flip side of it.
And again, but you talk about when you have these incentive laden contracts in sports, and all of a sudden like someone's not starting a game or someone's taken out early from a game, pitching wise, and they miss by like 3 innings, or they miss by 10 yards rushing. And we talk about how that's not fair for the players, and you kind of have to have that same mentality.
Yeah, you do.
I'll take a $10 million payday for and give up the box office receipts.
Very true. Very true. Very true. Touche. The budget was 200 million. The box office so far was 370.
I think most of that's overseas.
Yeah. So yeah, I didn't feel like it was a hit here. So Spider-Man. Feelings about that slowly but surely.
I'm in.
Well, okay.
I am in. I am so in. I've watched that trailer like 4 times. I've broken it down. I've read every article breaking it down.
Yeah. I am. Doctor Strange is taking on the role of Iron Man as like the kind of the father figure.
Allegedly.
Part of the looks like.
Allegedly.
Don't want to get sued. But I am not, the only thing about it was it looked like a kind of a self-driven, we gotta see it when it comes out, but it looked like kind of a self-driven enemy in this one with Peter Parker trying to, doesn't want his whole like, his identity is, everybody knows his identity now. So now it's that he wanted to go back to being, not everybody knowing who he was. That part of it kind of like was like to me. But we'll see. I'm not the biggest. He's not my favorite character, surprisingly enough. But I do think that Holland and everybody does a really good job with him. So I'll have to see when it comes out. I liked it. I liked the whole Doc Ock at the end. Talk about looking.
Well, I mean that second Spider-Man movie is like one of my favorite.
Oh yeah, that's a good movie.
Ones.
So I guess I'll give him credit on that. I just want to see. I kind of want to see what the new folks bring, and I think the most exciting thing I'm excited about, especially with Angelina Jolie getting involved in it, and Salma Hayek is in it as well. Like that is like makes me feel like okay, like you don't bring people in like people like that in for some cookie cutter small
Yeah.
thing
Well,
like
Selma Hayek said that when they first got the call from Marvel, when her agent came to her, she turned it down at first because they thought they were going to ask her to play a grandmother.
She's up there, isn't she?
She's up there, but she's like
She's
that. She's like, that was my first
she's
thought.
great. I love
And,
I love Salma Hayek. I don't know about you, but
and then when they presented the whole character to me, oh yeah, she's
amazing. She's amazing. Yeah, she's great. She's great. She's great at everything she does.
She's great in Adam Sandler movies, and I love Adam Sandler. Like I love his movies, but she does a good job in those movies too. Most people would just take the payday, and an actor like that or actress like that would just go through the emotions. But
she's good. She's fantastic. I like her. I like her a lot. So that being said, so should be fun. Should be fun times as far as that goes. I'm excited to see what happens here as far as we going forward there. When is the Eternal supposed to come out?
November,
and the rings are out in September
3rd. So in a week.
I'm gonna try to go theater for that one and see what it looks like for the theater for that there's nothing on after Loki was the last TV show that they had on.
Well, what if is on right now?
I'm not into it. What if
the third episode is really good.
Is it?
Third episode is really good. The first episode I wasn't too into. The second episode was interesting. What if T'Challa became Star-Lord? And then the third one is really, really good. So Sam Jackson can voice act along with being a real actor. So check it out if you can. It's not must see, but it's biding the time till the 10 Rings comes out.
Yeah, I am terrible with names, so I'm not going to try to attempt her first name, but her last name is right. She plays speaking of T'Challa, she plays his sister. Very great.
Letitia.
She does a tremendous job in that movie. She's one of everybody's favorite characters in the Black Panther movie. She did injure herself on the stunt in the new Black Panther movie. So as a Marvel fan and as a fan of really good actors, just wish her the best as far as getting back, because we definitely all want to see the next Black Panther. Especially, with it was kind of, I watched that end scene again with an Endgame, which is just, it's cinematic genius. As far as that goes, it's just incredible. On your left, it's just incredible. But when you see Chadwick Boseman's face, it still brings you chills. That
Have you ever watched any of those videos, the movie theater reactions of the end of Endgame?
Oh no, I've not seen those.
Yes, check those out. Yeah. They're still powerful. Because the first time I saw the movie, that's how the theater was. Especially when Captain. They have two fan reaction videos. One is when Cap grabs Mjolnir, and the second one is to your left.
Yeah, seriously. Just that, like, I feel like that part of it is just like the everything is kind of silent. And that subtle thing, like just saying that, it was just like perfect movie. That's perfect directing there. I give him a lot of credit for that part of it, because I think if it was somebody else, they might not have done it that way. So I always give Marvel credit for that part. But that was always fun. And you have to get. I think the Eternals is going to help carry me, because like it's never going to go back. Like, they're not going back. So you have to embrace what's coming forward. So I'm excited to see what comes forward now that I saw the second trailer of the Eternals. I think that story, even in that trailer.
Yeah, they did a good job with that first trailer, keeping it really mysterious, and then the second trailer, really opening it up. And
then they're also like, hey, like, how come you guys weren't helping us when Thanos was tearing up the world? Like, like they asked them really, because they seem like very powerful characters. So that's kind of cool as well. All right, James, thank you for sun's out now, so I can, hey, I got the coffee got me through this early morning. If you don't know, it's 5:30 we started at 5:30 a.m. Pacific time, East Coast time, 8:30. So we thank you for coming on. Enjoy your birthday week, right? Your birthday week coming up.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm contributing to an article about Van Halen, the Sammy Hagar years, with a writer on a radio magazine station. So I have to answer the questionnaire today. He's actually using one of my photos for the article. So when that posts, I will share that with everyone, and I'm looking really forward to that. I attended the concert that became the only officially released Van Halen Live Without a Net. I was at both nights of the filming of that, so I'm being interviewed for that. It's be contributing to an article. So
hey, let us know. We'll definitely throw that on social media. Throw it on all the platforms we have here, and then that. Because listen, if you don't know James, will always find a nice beach. James knows music, knows uniforms, and knows sports.
Yes. Really, I had a really tough week with the loss of Charlie Watts. It's been crazy. Rod Gilbert and then Charlie Watts. Two of my favorites. So we, not tough to end on a sour note, but yeah. So I'm looking forward to contributing to this article. So.
Yeah, no question about it. All right, listen. Next time, see you next time. See you next week. The Giants have a great stretch of games here. With they play the I keep messing up these bird teams in Atlanta. Okay, so listen. I'm gonna say the Falcons. It's almost football season. So they play the Braves, they play the Brewers, and then they play the Padres. So those should be fun games to see where they stand, because the Dodgers are at nip at their heels, and I'm not sure when the Rays play the Yankees, but that should be fun. It's a fun little.
They end the season with 3 games. Last 3 games of the year are the Rays and the Yankees. I'm not sure where it's at though.
Interesting.
Probably a Yankees stadium. They probably want to throw a bone to the Yankees.
Oh yeah, we people think we hate the Yankees on this pro show. It's pretty funny. All right, James, take care.
Have a good one.